For weeks, there had been speculation about a supposed rivalry between two of the most talked about figures on Britain's political right. But today, Tommy Robinson decided to speak clearly and put the rumors to rest with a direct message to Nigel Farage. "I am not your enemy." In a firm but non-confrontational tone, Robinson aimed to dismantle the narrative that pits them against each other. He insisted that despite what many may think, he holds no grudge against Farage. According to him, the misunderstandings have been fueled more by media narratives than by any real conflict between them. He even revealed an unexpected detail: they've never met in person. Robinson, known for his critical stance on traditional politics, went further. He said that the United Kingdom needs deep change, a political transformation that goes beyond parties and names, one that directly challenges the established system, a genuine movement by the people, for the people. In his message, he acknowledged that his name has been the target of smear campaigns for years, and that Farage might have been influenced by that distorted image. But he insisted there is no more room for backstabbing politics, or for continuing to believe in labels imposed by the media. Maybe Nigel bought into that version of me the media has sold, but that doesn't mean it's true, he said. "I'm not here to fight you or anyone. I'm here to build something different. If we want a different country, we can't keep dividing ourselves." Reactions didn't take long to appear. Some supporters welcomed the idea of the two leaders finding common ground, convinced that together they could represent a real force for change. Others, however, were more critical, accusing Farage of arrogance, of looking down on Robinson's supporters, and of letting prejudice guide him instead of facts. One of the most shared comments said, "Nigel needs to get off his pedestal. If he disrespects Tommy's voters, he's forgetting who got him where he is." Another message stated, "Tommy is more honest and has more integrity than Farage. That's what really bothers Nigel." Robinson did not respond to the backlash, nor did he seek confrontation. His message was clear: this isn't about personalities, it's about a larger cause. As Robinson's words spread across social media and political forums, the atmosphere grew increasingly charged. What began as an attempt at reconciliation quickly escalated into a national debate about leadership, loyalty, and the narrative shaped by the media. Many right-wing supporters began to question whether they were truly choosing their leaders out of conviction, or simply believing what they had been told to believe. Robinson emphasized something fundamental: the need to think independently. "Don't stick with what the television tells you about me, or about anyone. Judge us by what we do, by how we speak, by what we stand for openly. If you've never heard me speak, if you've never looked me in the eyes, how can you hate me with such certainty?" With that statement, Robinson wasn't just speaking to Farage. He was speaking to everyone who had ever dismissed him without giving him a chance, to those who crossed the street when they saw him coming, and to those who preferred to repeat headlines rather than learn his story firsthand. At the same time, a segment of his most loyal followers felt this gesture was more than a simple call for peace. It was a demonstration of political maturity. Robinson wasn't seeking revenge or the spotlight, but rather a shared cause to mobilize those disillusioned with the system. "I didn't come to destroy anyone," he said. "I came to build something that includes all of us." Among the most notable comments, some argued that Farage should open his eyes and listen, especially if he hopes to lead a serious political alternative. "What's the point of wanting to change the country if you refuse to speak with those ready to do it alongside you?" one user wrote. Others viewed continuing to ignore Robinson as a strategic mistake. His base is loyal, it's loud, and it's growing. You can't afford to write them off. There were also more critical voices, interpreting the gesture as a sign of weakness or a search for validation. Tommy doesn't need Farage's approval. He should follow his own path without looking back, a woman said on an alternative media channel, but Robinson didn't respond to any of these messages. He stayed the course. No provocations, no playing the victim, no throwing stones. He simply left his message hanging in the air, an open invitation to rethink alliances, to set aside caricatures, and to focus on what truly matters: the political future of the United Kingdom and those willing to stand up for it without fear. While social media buzzed with Tommy Robinson's conciliatory message, in another corner of the British political stage, the battle raged on, with a different tone and a different target. This time, it wasn't about alliances or personal misunderstandings, but rather a direct blow delivered by Anas Sarwar, leader of Scottish Labour, against Nigel Farage and his party, Reform UK, following the recent results in a Scottish by-election. Sarwar didn't wait for the dust to settle. He stepped into the spotlight with a clear, blunt message: there isn't a single constituency in this country that Reform UK can win. Just like that. In his address to the press, Sarwar spoke directly to the Scottish public, making it clear that to him, the noise generated by Reform UK is just that, noise, with no substance and no future. With a firm tone, he broke down the message that, according to him, the ballot box had just delivered. He said voters not only want to remove the SNP, Scottish National Party, which has been in power for nearly 2 decades, but they also reject the kind of politics represented by Nigel Farage, a mix of populism, confrontation, and polarizing rhetoric that may be seductive online, but offers no real solutions for ordinary people. The only real way to remove the SNP from power is with us, with Scottish Labour, Sarwar insisted, repeating like a mantra the idea he's trying to cement in the public imagination, that the choice is between him and Scottish nationalism, not Farage or anyone else. But the Labour leader didn't stop there. He went further. He said many of those who voted for Reform UK in the by-election did so as a form of protest, a punishment vote against the current situation, not as a show of faith, but as an outlet, a way of saying, we're fed up, but not necessarily a deep endorsement. According to Sarwar, that support won't hold next year, when it's time to truly decide the country's direction. He also denounced what he sees as a misleading strategy by other actors, such as former Minister John Swinney, who, he claimed, tried to sell the idea that only Reform UK could defeat the SNP in certain areas. That narrative is a trap, Sarwar said, a distortion that confuses voters and fractures the strategic vote. When journalists asked whether he would consider forming a coalition with Reform UK to oust the SNP, Sarwar's response was a resounding rejection. I don't accept it, it's not necessary, and besides, there's no real foundation for it. He reinforced the idea that Reform UK is irrelevant in terms of seats, and that in most key regions, the real contest is between Labour and the SNP, no one else. Then came the most provocative moment of his speech, a direct message to Farage. With a mix of sarcasm and political challenge, Sarwar said, "Good morning, Nigel. Eid Mubarak, I hope you enjoyed last night's result, but let me be clear, the election next year isn't about you, no matter how badly you want it to be." The final blow came with an ironic invitation. He challenged Farage to debate ideas face to face if he truly wants to be a major player, but warned that he won't be an easy opponent. If he wants to debate, let him, but he shouldn't expect any leniency, because when the time comes, we won't allow this election to become just another personal spectacle. For Sarwar, the threat isn't just the SNP, it's also what he calls political nonsense, ideological noise that distracts from real issues, that polarizes, that promises upheaval and revolution, but builds nothing lasting. That's why he closed with a line meant to draw a clear dividing line. If you truly want to put an end to the SNP's failures, there's no option but to back us. Everything else is a distraction. With that closing, Sarwar aimed to position Scottish Labour as the only serious, viable, and mature force to lead Scotland into the immediate future. At the same time, he openly dismissed any role that Reform UK might play in that transformation, labeling Farage an opportunist and his party a passing trend that can't withstand the weight of real electoral scrutiny. What caught analysts' attention the most was Sarwar's strategy, attacking Reform UK not from a place of fear, but from one of disdain, as if they didn't even deserve a seat at the table in any serious political debate. With this approach, he aimed to send a clear message to undecided voters. Don't waste your vote on baseless projects. In his view, Farage and his allies may be loud, yes, but they are incapable of sustaining a government proposal that convinces the broader public beyond their frustration.